Some people think that they know you. And maybe they knew you once upon a time. They knew the you that you wanted them to know then. But how can you ever really know yourself? My younger brother, God bless him, even though we didn't get along when I was in high school at all, the one thing that I knew about him is he didn't put up with no mess. He was uncharacteristically violent. And people didn't know that because you would look at him, you would see the pretty boy, and, you know, he seemed, you know, he was very well liked. But at the end of the day, my little brother was like secretly a ninja. I remember there was an incident in high school before I left, and I just stopped it one day because I don't know. Something just told me he was going to get into a scrape, and I was just like, sir, you know how like in spades you have an oil check, and you checking to see how many spades other people got. Listen, I needed an oil check on my little brother. I was like, sir, weapons check, my guy. Weapons check. What you working with right now? Listen, he had 37 weapons on him at that one moment, and you could not tell. He had throwing knives on him. He had a pin that you screw the top off and it was a knife. He had a necklace that was like a leaf pendant, and you could open up the leaf and there's a blade inside there. He had a belt that you could take a blade out of the belt. He had so many weapons on him, and I was dumbfounded. I was like, are you going on a special mission? Have you accepted, you know, hit contracts? Like, who are you? And a lot of times that's the question you have to ask yourself. Who am I? Hello, Governor. This is Rakai Steed, nupefromdaville. And I want to jump into this movie that I watched. Excellent little movie on Netflix called The Hitman, starring Glen Powell and what is her name? Adria Arjona. The Hitman is based on, very loosely, based on the real life exploits of I think he was a physics professor or psychology professor named Gary Johnson. And Gary Johnson supplemented his income by doing like surveillance work, planting bugs, just surveillance stuff for the local PD. But one time they needed him to step in because something happened to their normal undercover guy. So they needed him to step in and pretend to be a hitman so that the mark didn't get away. And the thing is, when he stepped in, bone-chillingly, he did a fantastic job. He was super believable as the hitman, like disturbingly so. And his natural acting chops, where he said he had never thought about joining the theater when he was in school, that's exactly what he did. He became an instant actor, you know, one of those guys that got it. And he went on these series of adventures pretty much and caught like a ungodly amount of marks who were trying to assassinate loved ones or other people. Now, because this is a Hollywood story, they, you know, Hollywoodized it and put a love story in the middle with one of the marks and things like that. And from what I understand, none of that's true. But what Glen Powell's character, Gary Johnson, had to do the entire time was try to figure out, who am I? Because when he was Gary Johnson, professor, it was easy to miss him. He was invisible. He drove like a Prius or a Honda Civic. He drove something very sensible, easy to disappear. He, had his glasses on. He looked every part the lame, homely little professor who you almost walk past and feel sad for him. It's like, because that dude is not living life. He's existing merely. But when he became all of these different Hitman characters, he was almost never the same character. Every job he went into, he was a different character, costumed, everything, and pulled each one off. And some of in the movie, it's comical, some of them, because it's like, really? He went to this one lady, and she wanted to pay him with a boat to kill her husband or something like that. And he was just like, he gave me very Boris and Natasha vibes, like, a Russian hitman, but straight out of Rocky and Bullwinkle type. It's hilarious. But he could pull it off. And over time, he had to figure out, where did Gary Johnson end and some of these characters begin? Because the thing is, they're all in him. And the way he played them was almost like he had split personalities. A lot of times you have to ask yourself, who are you? And how do you even get to know yourself better? Some things that I've done over my journey is I journaled. Especially for people that's hard to talk about your feelings, get your feelings out. Now, I've been in therapy for 5 years now, so that helps tremendously. But, you only see a therapist once a week for, 45, 50 minutes, an hour. There's 167 more hours to the week. What do you do in that time? And when you find time, you need a sounding board. You need to channel, write. Because then you'll be able to go back and see how far you've come. You can see how dark your thoughts got at some point. You can see progression. You can see success over certain things. But you can see it. It's in black and white. You don't have to try to remember it. You can see it. You should do what you can to understand your personality. Now, does that mean take personality tests or, even physical tests? You need to understand yourself physically, mentally, spiritually, and have a moment where you come to understand where you are, how you got there, and even better yet, where are you trying to go? Because that's at the crux of wanting to understand yourself, wanting to be better. Where are you trying to go? What are the goals that you have? Have you written down goals? This is who I want to be. This is where I'm trying to go in my life. These are things I want to do. Mark them down. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? And I'm not saying you do a SWOT analysis on yourself, but that might not hurt. Yeah, I know it works in business. It may work on you too. Something very important to understanding yourself is you need to not only be kind to yourself. A lot of us, we have a tendency to punish ourselves for past transgressions. In basketball, a shooter shoots. Any good coach would tell you, if you got a shooter, somebody who could shoot the cover off the ball, and he misses the game-winning shot or he misses some big shots, you have to encourage him and shoot the ball. That game is over. We wanted a different outcome. We didn't get it. The next game, I'm going to put the ball in your hand and we're going to get the outcome that we're looking for. Shoot the ball. And that goes for you. You need to practice self-care. Take care of yourself. And that means more than just, your daily skin routine or going to the gym and get your body together. You have to work on this. And I know for some people, it's not your bag. I get it. But right along with the mental, sometimes you're spiritual. Where are you at with that? And you don't have to tell me. That's cool. That's your bag. But it goes right along with it. Part of your mental is figuring all of that out. Be open to new experiences. Try new things. Discover what you're good at, because you may not know. There may be things that you've never done before, or maybe you had a fear of doing them. And then once you do them, he's like, I can't believe that I love this. And that could be food, adventures, things that you had never thought about doing before. And that means that you have to get out of your comfort zone. I get it. You're comfortable where you're at. You like being comfortable. But sometimes you have to challenge yourself, push yourself. Who are you? You have to explore your passions. Life has got to be more than waking up, dealing with the kids, going to work, getting off, being depressed about it, dinner, homework, Netflix, go to sleep, do it all again tomorrow. It's got to be more than that. You've got to explore your passions. And right along with, your passions, the goals that I told you to write earlier, you have to know your dreams. Knowing your passions is one thing, but dreams, where are you trying to go? And not loose. I had a homeboy that was one of the best barbers that I knew, and he talked about owning his own barbershop. And here we are many moons later, and he never even went to barber school. How can you pursue your dreams if you don't make any actual steps towards them? It's got to be more than just something that you say in your head every now and again. Because that's the thing that you telling people at the high school reunion. I woulda, shoulda, coulda. And then you're too busy punishing yourself for where life went wrong on you. I get it. Life is going to screw us all. Because while you busy making plans, life is lifing. But you got to do something about it. Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. And Lao Tzu said that knowing others is intelligence, but knowing yourself is true wisdom. When I think to my brother, I always think about I don't know if it's a parable or story about the two wolves. And this is basically, the angel and devil. You have two wolves that sit on your shoulders. One wolf is your higher self, the one that wants all the best for you and is going to push you to get out of that comfort zone and try new things, try to be a better person. And then you have the other wolf on the other shoulder who speaks to your lower self, and he wants to debase you. He wants you to do all the things that feel good to you, even when you know that they're wrong, but they feel good. Maybe you gotta kill a few people. Maybe you gotta lie to some people. Maybe you got to just do all sorts of debauchery and wickedness. The key to your life is which wolf are you feeding? You can go through your entire life and want to feed the wolf that represents your higher self. But if you actually sneaking table scraps to the wolf that represents your lower self, you are sabotaging your own life. And there's nothing anybody can do to help you. You have to want better for you. You have to surround yourself with people who want better for you. Who are you exactly? Best thing you can do is find out before it's too late. This is Rakai Steed, nupefromdaville. Make sure you go check this movie out if you get a chance. It's good. Like, comment, share. And if you haven't done so already, hit the subscription. It's all about this. Most definitely all about this.